Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Walgreens has good news for anyone managing diabetes. We've got your back. That's right. Walgreens pharmacists are here to consult with you in person and answer any questions you may have about new and existing medications. You can even get free advice from our trusted experts day and night at walgreens.com or the mobile app. Walgreens has all major brands of diabetes testing supplies like Accu-Check and Walgreens Trimetrix. That's not just good news, it's great news. Stop by and talk to your Walgreens pharmacist today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough, but getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
Hey, Dave, what's with the dry erase board?
We've got so much to do before we open for the day, so I'm diagramming our game plan.
You just wrote help me and X's and arrows.
I know. We need help.
Here's a plan. Call Cintas. They'll check our fire extinguishers, stock our first aid cabinets. They'll take care of our floor mats and restroom supplies. And, of course, deliver great-looking uniforms.
Call Cintas. Great plan.
Oh, I'm ready. Learn how Cintas can help you get ready for the workday. Visit Cintas.com.
Art's Barbecue and Burgers has the best burger in town. And every Saturday, enjoy any burger at Art's and get $1 off. Try Art's Bacon Cheeseburger, topped with house-smoked bacon, or the Art Attack with bacon, ham, and a fried egg. And all of Art's burgers come with a mound of fresh-cut fries, or upgrade to Art's homemade onion rings. $1 off all burgers every Saturday at Art's Barbecue and Burgers, 8203 Rogers Avenue, next to Aaron's in Fort Smith. Tommy Kraft for The Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, The Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, controlled access, and card readers. Call The Fence Man for a quick, no obligations quote. 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
It's Southern Tire Mart Free Brake Inspection Tuesday.
In-app. Razorback news, podcasts, videos, and tons more online now. Only at hitthatline.com.
Don Le Batard.
Why do you carry around $2,000 unless you're paying off a referee or something?
Whoa!
What happened?
What happened?
What happened then?
I didn't imply that. Doc Rivers is like a saint. One of the great coaches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Stugotz.
Put on the poll, Guillermo. First of all, is Greg Cody as a journalist spectacularly reckless? Put that on a poll first. And then secondarily, put on the poll as well, is Doc Rivers paying referees?
I never said he was.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
If you missed any of our interviews, especially the one with the two witches.
Today's were good, man. That was a great guest list. I love how weird our guest list was today. Love it.
Great. Go check them out on demand in the Dan Le Batard podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One N.A., member FDIC. Listen to Golick and Wingo now through May 22nd for your chance to win the Wingo Cup and Golf Whistling Straits. Home of the 2020 Ryder Cup. The Wingo Cup is presented by Dell Small Business. Go to espnradio.com for complete rules.
So we will update some of the polls in a second, including whether anyone else is alarmed that Arizona has made nunchucks legal. But before we do that, Mina Kimes, ESPN.com is with us. She wants to talk, but she never knows when to. She's looking at the microphone. She's staring at it. She's talking now, but not on air.
Hello.
Mina, like, how difficult is this? You're a professional, Mina.
Roy was misleading me.
I was not misleading you.
He was pointing to the wrong button.
I was not. I was literally touching the channel.
You said this one.
No, I said this one.
Do I have to keep my finger on it the whole time?
Why have you already made me regret calling for you? Why have you already made me regret that?
Hello.
Did you want to talk about nunchucks? Is that what you were talking about into a microphone that wasn't on?
We were talking about the shipping container and I are recording a podcast later, and Lenny always asks an insulting question, so I was trying to get material on each of them for his insulting question.
So the shipping container is on the Mina Kimes with Lenny podcast. You can check that out. People love all things involving the shipping container. I wanted to get your thoughts, though. We discuss Game of Thrones very poorly around here. We are really
none of us watch
We're
it.
really bad, but it seems to me that the people who love Game of Thrones are really mad right now at Game of Thrones. Am I wrong?
I don't think this season has been good. People are mad at me, by the way, for spoiling Game of Thrones on Highly Questionable yesterday, even though I said spoiler alert, and you could have... What? You got a problem with that? Yeah, okay.
No, you're good.
But I don't think this season has been very good. No. I think... Shocking. Yeah, I think they're just like trying to rush towards a conclusion, and the performances haven't really earned that conclusion. I'm trying not to spoil it. I'm trying to have a conversation about Game of Thrones without making people angry at me again.
Probably impossible, though, to meet the expectations people had for the final season. It has to be impossible. Like, everyone had such great expectations for it, fans of that show, and there's no way he could have met those expectations.
Well, George R.R. Martin posted something kind of complaining about, because, now obviously it's gone beyond the scope of his writing, and he's very slow. And I happened to notice he wrote like 300 words complaining about it. He could have spent that time working on the books. Right? I mean, what's your deal, George R.R. Martin?
At Levitard Show on Instagram and Twitter. Go ahead and update some of the polls here, Stugotz, please.
At Levitard Show on Twitter. Sorry, Dan, I didn't have them ready. Would you like to kill that person with your elbows? 84% of the audience said yes. Is sanitation disposal a government job? 67% of the audience said yes.
Can we make happen this Greg Cody as a garbage man for a week? I want to make it happen.
Even for a day.
For a week. I know. You committed to a week. We want it to be a week.
Start with a day.
Twitter poll, by the way, brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Dollar Shave Club delivers the products you use to look, feel, and smell your best right to your door. Plus, with their handsome discount, the more you buy, the more you save. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Dan for a special offer. Is there a pinnacle to being a garbage man? 57% of the audience said yes. Is it a good idea that Arizona has made nunchucks illegal? Or legal, excuse me. 51% of the audience said yes. How is that a good idea? I don't understand.
How are they legal?
Is Billy too old to be referring to them as tummy pains? Woof. 87% of the audience said yes.
Ouch. Sorry, Billy.
Have you ever eaten iguana? 96% of the audience said no.
How much exotic food have you eaten when you're Ron McGill and you're saying, well, I've eaten iguana, but that's not so exotic?
And the rat is pretty good. I mean, seriously.
Have you guys had ostrich? I ate ostrich once. Ostrich
Get
jerky.
out of here.
Yeah. No, I had ostrich jerky.
Why?
I've eaten wild boar.
I had kangaroo.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Where?
Yeah, where did you eat kangaroo?
They brought some samples into the old radio studio that we used to work out of.
How was it? Not human, the kangaroo. Not the human. How was the kangaroo?
It was pretty good. It was kind of gamey, but it was all right. It was rare though.
We do not want to give people too much information on what it is that we're doing in New York. And it's at least in part because we don't have very much information about what it is that we're doing in New York. We told you, hey, we're going to New York. And then we said $50. And then you said, okay, sold out. And then we said, well, what are we doing?
Yep.
And so now we've got to go do this on Saturday. And the only information that people have been given so far, because we want to be careful about what we tell people. We want to reduce expectations because we're all scared, except inexplicably for Roy, who puts his fear at a 2 among 10. And Greg Cody is going to be the MC. That's all we've told you, that he will be sort of hosting the festivities. But my guess is this is all going to go off the rails very quickly. I don't know if it's going to be a Dana Jacobson situation where I'm drinking straight from the bottle and I careen into a pit. But we don't know exactly where this night is headed, and we're all a little bit scared of it.
But we have the perfect MC. When you consider that we have a night where we have no idea where it's headed, what we're supposed to do, we have the perfect man leading us.
I don't think.
Follow me.
Okay, but I need to explain to you guys. He has been.
Hop on Greg's back.
Follow me.
I'm a little worried about everything that's happening here. Chris, how are you feeling about things right now?
I'm feeling okay. You know, at some point he's just going to start singing. Like, that's the go-to.
You never know.
Like, exactly. I think within the first 2 minutes, he's probably going to be singing some song.
Listen, when you're being led to nowhere, the person you want leading you is Greg Cody.
Yep.
I mean, that's it.
I got to say, he's right.
I've had conversations with Greg today that I can't really myself identify as being helpful or not helpful, because I'll tell him things like, oh, Greg, you know, as a host, you should be singing a lot. Oh, Greg, I feel like you should do a tribute to Doris Day. And I don't know if these are helpful suggestions or not.
Oh, that's my wheelhouse, Doris Day tribute.
I feel like it'd be a nice thing if all of a sudden there's just like a slide with Doris Day. I mean,
Doris Day is
yeah,
your
she
wheelhouse?
passed away.
Just passed away at 99, yeah.
And people have been saying to us all show long, they've been telling us, remember her, Greg Cody.
Que sera, sera.
Don't give him too much, Greg.
Okay.
Have him come on
Save
Saturday.
some for
Tickets
the
still
show,
available
Greg.
if you want to come.
He's going to break out Doris Day at the show in New York.
So I can't be there, sadly. My invitation must have been lost in the mail. No big deal. But, Greg, this is the first time I'm finding out you are the MC.
Yep.
So can you give us at least like a little taste, perhaps, of something?
Just
I hope
a
you
little.
have something planned. Maybe
taste.
just like a little bit.
You never know.
You just heard the Dan Levatar Show on ESPN Radio.
All right, bye.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
The weather is heating up, and it's time to make sure your battery is ready. At AutoZone, we have the free services you need to do it right. Car not starting? The solution starts at America's #1 battery destination. We'll test your battery for free and help you figure out the real issue, so you don't buy what you don't need. Getting the job done just got easier. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. Restrictions and details in store. The MPD Group Incorporated Car Care Track, 12 months ending December 2018.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This is the Morning Rush.
Before this season started, if I would have told you that Arkansas would have more regular season wins than the team last year, by a few, not just by one, but by a few, would you have believed me if I would have told you that they would be a overall record would be better this year than last year?
Well, I mean, I never doubt because of Dave Van Horn.
I understand.
But I would wonder what happened to the league. That would probably be my first thought.
Yeah.
Because, again, Dave kind of Lou Holtzed us a little bit. You know, we're a little overrated, and I won't say poor mouth, but remember
we don't have much power.
Talked us down a little bit in the beginning of the year that this team is not. We're living off of our reputation a little bit from last year is pretty much the tone he was talking in preseason. And I think a lot of us believe this team right here is probably better than last year's team that went all the way to the final round.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Spring is in the air, and spring fishing season is here. And Jelco Outdoors has the fishing gear you need to hook the big wall hanger this spring. Rods, reels, baits, tackle, fishing clothing, and rain suits, plus fishing kayaks. Jelco has it all for you. The best quality name brands at fair prices. Jelco Outdoors, your spring fishing headquarters in the River Valley. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Kick off the season the right way with a new RV from Crabtree RV in Alma. Crabtree is extending our RV show pricing all season long. Check out our spring show specials like a Salem 207 with a slide and bunks for $147 a month. And with RV show pricing, you can take up to $10,000 off of MSRP on new travel trailers and up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels. And we'll still give you more for your trade than the other guys. at Crabtree RV in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here with a better way to drive at Rath Auto Resources. We're out to break every record in May with the biggest Memorial Day sale ever. It's huge. It's too big for a day. It's huge. Too big for a weekend. It's huge. It's going to take all month to get this done and some of the best incentives ever. We've marked down every vehicle on the lot with discounts up to $3,300 below retail. To save even more, look for the vehicles with the green special stickers on the windshield and get state sales tax paid. If you're keeping the car you have, let our Meineke Car Care Centers take care of it for you with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires, free AC checks, and 10% off all AC work. So visit us today and take advantage of discounts up to $3,300 and state sales tax paid on select inventory during the biggest Memorial Day sale ever. It's huge at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Are your real estate investments being properly managed? Are you sending a check or cashing a check each month? If you're tired of your current property managers, then call Trinity Multifamily. Trinity will qualify your tenants and leases, inspect your properties, and take care of maintenance and provide you with web-based access to current financial reports, leases, and pictures of your property. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
We could see just a stray shower or thunderstorm across the north today. Otherwise, partly to mostly sunny skies, upper 70s to low 80s. Tonight, we're dropping down close to 60, and a few isolated showers or storms again north on Wednesday with high temperatures in the low to mid 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Mosquito Joe. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your outside fun this year. Call Mosquito Joe at 479-202-9960 to keep your yard mosquito-free or visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
Here we go. From the Bush and Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3.
Town is a pigskin paradise.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, I'd have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Hey, hold on, it's almost halftime.
Boy, I feel a little weird sometimes when we open the show with the call that sent Arkansas to Omaha last year. I felt the same way about the way that the marketing department at the University of Arkansas baseball used that call also for the introduction video way back in February. It sets quite the expectation for a baseball team. But then again, I mean, these kids that are walking through the clubhouse at Baum-Walker Stadium to go out to the field, there's a sign that they walk underneath that says to plan for it and expect it and play for it, Omaha. So it's no surprise that that's what everybody's got the expectations for. And certainly when you're in the top 4 rankings in just about all the polls, with only 1 week left in the regular season, yeah, you can start. You don't start measuring the drapes for your hotel room downtown Omaha. You definitely start thinking about what it will take to make a deep postseason run. Though I am, at this point, beginning to measure the drapes in the hotel room in Hoover because Arkansas baseball is always the first team in Hoover. That's what, at the very least, if nothing else happens for the rest of the baseball season, they will earn the title of the first team to the Hyatt Winfrey Regency Hotel in Hoover because that's what happens every year. We'll be the only team at breakfast next Sunday. Which is good because it's the best breakfast buffet in the entire SEC.
That's saying something.
I'm going to tell you what, Ty. When we get to Monday's show next week, I'm going to send a picture. Phone eats first. Phone will eat first for you every single day. And I'm just going to be bragging on all of the
all of the foods that are included. But the problem is that we end up getting the morning sectioned off. I mean, you're supposed to get like a 30 or 35-minute window to eat and then move out so that the next team can come in, because there are 9 teams that are staying at this hotel at the start of the tournament. Of course, as the week goes along, there are fewer and fewer teams. But I'm going to brag on it. I will definitely brag on it. So I'm sort of measuring the drapes for the hotel room in Hoover, not in Omaha just yet. And I guess I should just plan for the hotel room in College Station first, because that's where Arkansas baseball is headed tomorrow to start the season-ending road trip, regular season-ending road trip. I forget the reason I was told, but the baseball team at Arkansas will always finish the regular season on the road. They will not finish the regular season at Baum-Walker Stadium. This is my 5th year doing these games. It is the 5th season that we are finishing the season on the road, and we go right to Hoover. So I got to get ready for College Station first. And hey, that makes sense, because you only do what's right in front of you. And what's in front of you is a good Texas A&M team that's also playing for trying to make the case of being a team that will host a regional. I think Texas A&M, with 14 conference wins and 34 overall victories, they could start to make the case of trying to make the case of being a regional host if they take 2 out of 3 from Arkansas. And certainly if somehow the Aggies were to sweep the Razorbacks, then they could really start to make that case very loudly. For Arkansas, I think the case is made, no doubt. You're one of the top 16, and you will be a regional host. The only question is, are you a super regional host? Are you a top 8 national seed? I still think the answer to that question is yes already. But one win at Texas A&M, I think, will cement that out of 3. And from that point, then you start worrying about seeding in the SEC tournament, division championships, and all that stuff, because what it's all about, Ty, at the end of the regular season and the end of Hoover more than anything, is to be top 8 national seed, and then you get to utilize, it isn't just Arkansas, it's so many of the other programs in this conference, with Arkansas near the top of the list. Home field advantage in college baseball, certainly for Arkansas, it seems to mean a little bit more.
Yep, Baum-Walker Stadium, newly named, is a dynamo place to play. I mean, we're going to listen to what Eric Musselman had to say. He actually attended the LSU series this weekend, at least one of the games. He got a chance to catch up with John Rothstein on his podcast, and was just talking about the atmosphere itself. And that's one of the things you had with not only Baum-Walker Stadium, but all 3 venues. Like Bud Walton Arena is revered as one of the top college basketball venues in the country. Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium has been described by Greg McElroy as the toughest place he's ever played. Now, I don't think the football stadium is in the same category as Bud Walton or Baum. It's just not. People want it to be. It's not the same. It doesn't have the same intensity. People aren't as scared walking into Donald W. as they are to Baum-Walker Stadium or Bud Walton Arena. But it's still a pretty stinking good facility, and when the fans show up and when the team's good, it's a tough place to play. But yeah, that's for baseball-wise. I think about the games I got to attend back in 2015. I didn't go to the last year when they played South Carolina here, but 2015 was wild. I mean, that Missouri State series was incredible back with Benintendi and those guys, and you had a little bit of a rivalry with Keith Gooden and Missouri State with Arkansas, so that only added to the intensity of the games, and it's wild. For those who are listening right now, if you haven't made a trip to Fayetteville, to Baum-Walker Stadium during postseason, keyword on postseason, it's one thing to go see a regular season game. It's a completely another aspect, a completely another endeavor to witness a game or games there in the postseason, especially a super regional, because if they make it that far, it's going to be wild up there in a couple weeks, Phil.
Arkansas 28-6 at Baum Stadium this year, 35-4 last year. So when you've lost just 10 home games over the course of almost 2 full seasons, yes, I mean there's any team would want to be playing at home, but I think there's real evidence in the wins and the losses for Arkansas to want to be at home. So, I thought it would have been interesting if when Arkansas baseball got to Texas A&M and then play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if maybe future Arkansas quarterback Nick Starkel was still on campus at College Station. If he could come out to Bluebell Park and be a Texas A&M student at the same time while being an Arkansas fan and root on the baseball team. But we're sort of switching campuses in that sense, because as Arkansas baseball arrives in College Station, Nick Starkel is arriving in Fayetteville today. So he's actually beating us in the travel game by 1 day, although I don't think he is on a charter flight. I don't think that he is flying into Drake Field. He'll probably go with more of the not pedestrian as in walking, but pedestrian as in, just regular human being travel that we're not doing with a team, whether you're driving or whether you're flying up. He now makes the move. So he'd said his goodbyes to the Texas A&M athletics community and College Station overall, and he did it on social media, which I think he seems to be very open and out there on social media, and uses it as a way not just to communicate with friends and a fan base, but also to get his personality out there a little bit. This doesn't seem to be the sort of quarterback who is a fly on the wall, whether it would be in quarterback meetings or in a social setting or in a practice setting. This is somebody that looks like he's pretty comfortable in the spotlight, which isn't to say that Ben Hicks or KJ Jefferson or Connor Noland or anybody else in the quarterback room at Arkansas isn't comfortable in the spotlight in the context of the game itself. There are a lot of athletes that let me give you a case in point here. I had Kevin Kopps on the post-game show after Arkansas's win against LSU on Friday, and he's pitching in front of 11,000 people in a pressure-packed ball game and throws 4 scoreless innings, and it's like nothing. Put him on the radio in the post-game show, he got really nervous.
Did he really?
He got really nervous. So it's all just a matter, and I don't blame him. I mean, not everybody is used to putting on a headset and talking on a radio broadcast. Whether you can see these people or not, you know that there are a lot of people listening. So, it's just interesting to see the athlete and whether he or she is comfortable in all of those quote-unquote spotlight settings or in just the certain settings where you can kind of forget that all these people are watching you and maybe the season's riding on the line. It seems to me that Nick Starkel is now we haven't watched him in a game yet, of course, but his personality just seems to be it's out there in a way where he's not shy of the spotlight in a social way either.
So I don't know if I've told you this story before, but one of my better friends, he is fantastic in social situations, really good with girls, never had a problem with getting a girl's number or anything like that. But the one time we did a radio show together, he talked monotone. He was very scared. It's just interesting how certain people on and off the mic, like some people are the exact opposite, where they hop on a mic and then in like social situations and stuff, they're just kind of, they don't say anything. They're just kind of mute. I feel like I'm kind of in between, decent on the radio, decent in social situations. But with the quarterback position, as you're referring to, you don't have to have necessarily an arrogance or cockiness, but you have to have a little bit of a swagger. Like, how many quarterbacks do you know that have been successful at the college or the pro level that don't have a little extra oomph to them? It seldom happens in the sport. You have to have that. And I'm not saying you got to be out there in social situations and you have to be plastering all this social media stuff, but I would think that that's more of a good sign. I would rather see that than see a guy who's quiet and timid when it comes to being off the football field, Phil.
Yeah, and I think when you refer to the swaggers, it's an overused term in sports when you're really talking about confidence. That's what swagger turns into. It's confidence. It's a physical description of a mental state where you might be able to see that swagger and then it looks like confidence to me. And it's the same idea as being in a social setting, speaking to somebody one-on-one or speaking to somebody two on. How many listeners do you think we have? You think we got a couple 100,000 listeners right now on ESPN Arkansas?
That's probably the ballpark I would.
Okay, so then whether
towards.
it's 2 on 200,000 or 2 on 20, or whether it's in the context of a team, especially as a quarterback, and especially as a quarterback, when you're not the tone setter, but you're the singular guy, you're the dude. When you're the quarterback, you are it is universally accepted. You are the most important player on the team. When it comes to the number of minutes played, the number of times you touch the ball, it's the same as a starting pitcher, I think. And I thought this was what you saw from Blaine Knight a lot last year. I think the word swagger was thrown around with Knight a lot. It was confidence. There wasn't a cockiness, sure. I mean, there was an arrogance, perhaps, because you trust the things that you know about yourself. And I felt like you could see it. Any game that Blaine Knight pitched, there was that confidence kind of also shed itself on the rest of the team. Everybody else played with that same kind of confidence too. I think you want that from your quarterback as well. And again, it does. Who's to say that Ben Hicks isn't a better leader than Nick Starkel? It'll all play itself out over the course of this season. But it also seems that, does the competition for playing time really begin now? I mean, you haven't even started practice yet. Well, all the conversation will be about, is it Starkel? Is it Hicks? You know, nobody's really expecting that Connor Noland is going to get, as far, very far in this and the competition. KJ Jefferson maybe a little too early. So the question comes, is it Starkel? Is it Hicks? And it also seems to be, at least now, that it's also accepted that because of his familiarity with the coaching staff, because of his familiarity with a complex offense run at a previous school where he played for the coach, that Ben Hicks is the nominal front runner before everybody arrives on campus and before anybody puts on a green or a yellow or a blue or a red jersey, or before anything else happens. It would just seem that the way that we're talking about it, the way the experts are looking at it, that Ben Hicks is the proverbial front runner for right now. However long that lasts, who knows? But it also does seem to be a lot of folks, and not me one of them, would say that if Ben Hicks is the starter for Portland State, that doesn't mean he's the starter for Ole Miss. That doesn't mean he's the starter for Week 3. This will be a very interesting season when you're just looking at the quarterback battle. Does the battle start now, or does it start when everybody's finally on campus?
And that leads into our halftime poll question, which is, Nick Starkel gets to Fayetteville today. Will he start over Ben Hicks at any point in the season? And I would just kind of off the top of my head, and we're going to learn a lot more about these guys in the fall leading up to that first game against Portland State, but just throwing out a guess, throwing a dart, aiming for the dartboard, I would say yes. There's going to be a point this season where I think Starkel gets to start. Now, I could be wrong on that. I don't think many Arkansas football writers, radio hosts, or TV analysts right now could give you just 100% solid answer to that question, because we have so much to learn, not only about Ben Hicks, but about Starkel as well. We've at least gotten to see on campus and in practice and through social media and whatnot, Ben Hicks and how he reacts, how he's responding to coaches. Morris and these guys have been talking about him a little bit. We really, Starkel's, I wouldn't say a mystery, but you just don't have a lot of info on him at this point. It's kind of like when a freshman is playing in his first year in a particular conference, and you're just, as an opposing player or coach, you're just trying to learn about him a little bit. It's kind of like with Chad Morris and these coaching staff, what they're going to have to do, and the fans, they're going to have to learn about this kid, because we don't have a lot of info on him right now. But you mentioned kind of Starkel, his swagger, his confidence, how he displays that on the football field. Hicks is kind of the same way. They kind of have that same mentality. If you remember a couple weeks or a couple months back, that video that the Arkansas football Twitter account put out of Ben Hicks talking to wide receivers, talking to different players, talking to other quarterbacks, how he's been a leader and whatnot, that's going to be key, because what's going to happen when Starkel gets here, those are the two guys. I don't see any way that Connor Noland competes for the job next year. KJ Jefferson's too young at this point to come in as a true freshman and then just make his way to the top of the rotation. So it's going to depend on these guys developing a rapport with the different wide receivers, tight ends, the offensive line, getting the checkdowns and whatnot. And as you mentioned, Ben Hicks has got a leg up on Nick Starkel, not only because he's been in Chad Morris's system, but he's been here all spring. And so it's just hard for me to believe at this point in time that Nick Starkel is going to start against Portland State. Now, I think there's a decent possibility that at some point in time this season, he will get a start. But Portland State, I just don't think so, Phil.
How many jobs have been won during spring ball, especially when one of the quarterbacks isn't even on campus? Two of the quarterbacks, if you even look at KJ Jefferson, I mean, he wasn't on campus either. I'm assuming, he'll get some snaps in August. But how many times has the job been won in the spring? That's why I say I don't know if the competition's even begun yet. Yes, Ben Hicks has a head start on Nick Starkel, but he already would have had a head start on him because of his familiarity with the offense. I think there's a good chance that Nick Starkel starts against Portland State, because whoever starts against Portland State, I kind of feel like you want that to be your guy for week number 2 when you're opening in conference against Ole Miss. I mean, that's one of those games that you and I have targeted as maybe this is one of those 2 or 3 that you can pick off an upset, on the road in Oxford. So, and I think again, you're right about the idea. We haven't seen enough of these players. I haven't watched enough or any film on Nick Starkel. We can go by what the experts that we've had on the show would tell us, and they would tell us that Starkel's got the better arm, stronger arm, and more accurate. To me, I don't know. I think that would at some point show itself in a way to where if you learn that offense, and maybe he's intelligent enough to learn it pretty quickly, that you'll have it. You'll be the starter on opening day. And isn't it amazing? I mean, really, look, what was the conversation 12 months ago? It was also a 2-quarterback fight that you were anticipating, that you had more information on, although we'd been waiting to see Tye's story for a couple of years, and there hadn't been much expectation that he would be a frontline starter in the SEC. I think you felt the same way about Cole Kelly, so you were going into the summer like, oh goodness, these are the 2 quarterbacks that they're going to be fighting for position. Oh man, and then look how it played itself out. You could kind of see 12 months ago, almost you would expect 2-10 and 0-8, but that it wasn't going to be a great season. You feel differently about this. You got a couple of quarterbacks that have already shown, yes, you've had a little bit of success, a tiny little bit of success at Texas A&M. You've had success at Southern Methodist. You feel like you've already taken a step up in the talent level at the quarterback position before they even compete against each other.
While losing 2 in the offseason that you just mentioned, Tye Storr to Western Kentucky, and then Cole Kelly to Southeastern Louisiana State, some small Louisiana school.
I think there was a double direction, yes.
Yeah, and so that's why it's kind of interesting to just think about that and just to say that. It's like, oh, you got better, but you lost the 2 quarterbacks that were here. Sometimes we always talk about this addition by subtraction. Sometimes that's an actual thing in college sports, and I think that just for Chad Morris, those guys didn't fit his style, and now he knows he's got one guy that has been tested in his system and that works, and then another kid that he seems to like in Nick Starkel. So I think he's a lot more confident in the quarterback room. But Phil, you know this as well as I do. It's one thing to be confident about what you're going to bring in and what you're going to have this season. It's a completely other thing to actually supplement what you're trying to install and get it done. And by getting it done, I think the goal of this team should be to make a bowl game this year, and that should be with the offense they have. I know John and Tommy went into depth in the running back depth this morning. We mentioned T.J. Hammond's coming back yesterday. You have some talent in the running back position. You got some young talent in the wide receivers. They're going to have a lot to learn because of Chad Morris' system. You're just weary about the offensive line and maybe a couple other positions on defense. But from an offensive standpoint, you got to hope that the quarterback is better, because if the quarterback situation is not, I don't know if miles better is the right term, but it's got to be substantially better than last year, or you have no chance of making it to a bowl game.
So as the quarterback position is the main talk of our first segment here on Halftime, in hour number 2, we will have a quarterback on the show who also is a pitcher, and it's Connor Nolan, who joins us during hour number 2. We recorded an interview with him because they have got practice over at Paul Walker Stadium from 11 o'clock until about 1. And so you can't – that's one thing you can't do with athletes. You cannot interview them during practice. Coaches usually don't appreciate that very much. So we have our interview with Connor coming up in hour number 2. Plus, it is also a Tuesday, so we've got some things to get off our lawn. And Nikki Chavanel from Rivals.com joining us to talk about Arkansas recruiting, with a lot going on in that department. And we'll also find out how Nikki's vacation to the Dominican Republic went, because was she at a nail salon when we interviewed her last time? She was getting a pedicure, right?
I believe that's correct. Yeah. So, and she got it. What did she tell us? It was blue or purple?
I think it was a blue.
Okay.
I think she said blue.
Cool.
It's the first time I'd ever asked anybody. That's not true, actually, because I talked about a pedicure on the baseball broadcast a couple of times. I got one in Omaha last year. I got one this past Sunday, too, on Mother's Day. That's right. Hey, you need to get yourself a pedicure. I think that would work for you, Tye. Trim those claws right up.
I need one bad.
Yeah.
And a manicure, both, honestly.
But before we go to the break, I want to talk to anybody who's dealing with divorce, or if you're dealing with any child custody issues. If maybe you're not sure what's going on with your kids from the story from DHS, then get a hold of Kevin Hickey Law Partners. They're an experienced and aggressive attorney that is in your corner, and they've seen all these legal matters. They're here to help you with experienced, caring individuals that will step in and aggressively represent your interests. So if you're dealing with divorce, if you're dealing with child custody issues, DHS or criminal matters, call Kevin Hickey Law Partners in the River Valley, 479-434-2414, or in Northwest Arkansas, 479-802-6560. Or you can go to kevinhickeylaw.com. We'll come back. This is Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime. It's Southern Tire Mart Free Brake Inspection Tuesday. This is the Morning Rush.
What happened to the guy that used to make the kettle corn at Baum Stadium?
You're not there anymore?
No. You can't get fresh kettle corn at the ballpark. You can get kettle corn, but it's in a bag. That was one of the best things about going to Baum.
You need to have Hunter Yurchek on the show and ask him, hey,
what happened? Of all the things, we got to get resolved.
Priority number one.
I mean, that was like one of the best parts of going to the game.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
Sleep apnea isn't just a problem for the older or overweight. It can affect anyone, even children. If you or someone you know is tired all the time, it may be sleep apnea. Without treatment, it can lead to many serious health issues or even a traffic accident. Don't risk your health or that of a loved one. Make an appointment today with Dr. Bo Sparkman at River Valley Sleep Solutions. Treat your apnea without the hassle of a CPAP machine. Go to rivervalleysleep.com. That's rivervalleysleep.com.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
I have never had a more pleasant experience when I purchased my car from Hertz Car Sales. They were great to deal with and made sure I was a satisfied customer during and even after the sale. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, go see Hertz Car Sales.
Why not make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard or give them a call at 783-1722. You can also check them out on the web at buyfromhertz.com. Trade-ins are always welcome. Stop by Hertz Car Sales today. You'll be glad you did.
You know that Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment in Fort Smith is your go-to shop for everything pressure washers. But did you know that they also handle your industrial pump and supply needs too? It doesn't stop there. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment's industrial vacuum trucks can handle dry, liquid, and even sludge removal from several hundred feet away. Leave the cleanup to the professionals. Contact Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment at 782-3762. That's 782-3762. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment, 3116 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith.
Win the battle against weeds with a trip to Metters Lumber True Value. Save now on Roundup Concentrated Weed and Grass Killer. A 36.8-ounce bottle is just $18.99 after a $4 instant rebate for True Value Rewards members. This ready-to-use formula destroys tough weeds and grasses down to the root. It's waterproof in 30 minutes with results in only 12 hours. Don't miss this bargain of the month while supplies last. Metters Lumber True Value. Certain exclusions apply. See store for details.
Hi, I'm Eddie Lee Herndon with United Way. Did you know that $1 can provide 5 meals to hungry families in our area? Every dollar given to Arvest Bank's Million Meals campaign does just that. Now through June 1st, you can make a monetary contribution or donate non-perishable food items at any of the Arvest locations in our area. Contributions stay local and benefit the River Valley Regional Food Bank, the Community Service Clearinghouse, and United Way of Fort Smith area. Arkansas and Oklahoma both rank among the top 10 nationally in food insecurity. Please visit arvest.com/million meals. Arvest makes no representation that any contribution is tax deductible. Please consult your tax advisor.
This next segment on Halftime is brought to you by the Kevin Hickey Law Firm, the #1 resource for your child advocacy needs. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
No surprise that Carson Shaddy made his way to the University of Arkansas. Well, that one is launched. Deep left center field. Goodbye, baseball. You got to take out the rye bread and mustard, Grandma. It's grand salami time here at Baum Stadium.
Well, it seems that most of the polls are in agreement, or at least close to agreement, that Arkansas baseball is the 4th best team in the country right now. RPI says differently. RPI says Arkansas is number 6, which would put them 4th in the SEC. Vanderbilt with the top RPI, UCLA 2. Mississippi State, whom Arkansas swept, has the 3rd best RPI. East Carolina out of the American Conference with number 4. Georgia 5, and then Arkansas at 6. But our friends at D1 Baseball have the top 5 in order: UCLA, Vanderbilt, Stanford, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. The coaches go UCLA, Vanderbilt, Stanford, Arkansas, Mississippi State. And again, sometimes a few too many polls to try to pay attention to, and not all of them are updated on the right website all the time. But for the most part, the consensus right now is Arkansas is number 4, which I think going into the last weekend of the regular season with 1 win at Texas A&M, and hey, Arkansas is used to winning 2 games. This team has played 9 conference weekends. They've won 7 SEC series. But I think 1 victory at Texas A&M clinches you top 8 national seed no matter what happens in Hoover. And the truth is, Arkansas in Hoover, I don't see going 2-out. I think they'd be head and shoulders ahead of whomever it is that they would play Wednesday in the first of the double elimination round. I see Arkansas playing at the very least 3 games, potentially 4, and maybe going all the way to the championship game on Sunday.
Yeah, possibly pulling LSU. It seems like LSU's in that championship game year after year, because you always talk about how Maneri and those guys, they genuinely want to win that tournament. And LSU, their fans travel to Hoover year after year. They make the trip down there. So, but is that a good? I mean, is that? Yeah, what Tommy always says, 0 and 2. What does he say? I can't think of the phrase, but he has a particular phrase that he uses. And he's like, to go 0 and 2 and get knocked out, but that's almost momentum the other way, right? You don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't think you want to get used to losing. That's the thing. You don't want to go into a postseason having any question about yourself. But really, I mean, you lose 2 games, then you're looking at more than a week-long layoff.
0 for 2 barbecue. That's it. I couldn't think of it.
I don't think that's really what you want to do. I think you want to play at least 3 games, and playing 4 is fine. Really, I mean, you have the pitching to play 4 games over the course of 4 or 5 days. The problem is when if you have to play a 5th game in that championship, and then you're playing on a Sunday, which is the start of the week that you're playing in the regionals, which will start either Friday or Saturday. And so then it becomes the question of, well, you're not going to ask whomever started for you on Thursday to start Sunday. Maybe you're asking somebody who started Wednesday to start Sunday, but that's also a pitcher that's not used to working on that sort of rest. So then you end up getting, it's the extra game that you play that theoretically can, quote-unquote, burn the pitching a little bit. And that's what you don't want to do. I'd never be worried about the hitters, the position players being hurt, being tired at all. They can get out there and they can play, and I don't think that's a problem. It's the arms. And right now I think Arkansas's got the depth of arms that they could play 4 games in Hoover, and I don't think it hurts them at all. Whether you play a 5th game, now you're talking something a little different.
Other Arkansas news, this coming out of the NFL, Ryan Pulley has been cut by the Arizona Cardinals. Lasted about a week on that 90-man roster.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, so he's no longer with them. We'll see what happens if he ends up trying to sign a free agent deal with another NFL team, but he has been cut.
Why would somebody get cut after just 1 week? I mean, it's just like you show up and they get a look at you, they have a conversation, and they figure out, nope, it ain't worth it. This isn't going to work out before it even started.
I wish I knew. I wish I had the answer for that, but I don't. So, good news for our former Razorback, Johnny Gibson. The Eagles have signed him, former Arkansas guard, so he's going to play. And also, this also hit the timeline. Titans signed former Arkansas Razorback Cody Hollister who played wide receiver here a few years back. Philly has yet to catch a pass in the NFL. I think he's mainly used for special teams and other spots. But, yeah, those are just a few little Razorback NFL notes that's happening right now. But, yeah, back to Pulley, Phil, that's just kind of interesting that about a week and then you're done. So I guess that's the life of the NFL. You never know if you're going to get your next paycheck or if you're going to have a job the next day.
I mean, did he even get a paycheck? Don't you got to be there in the regular season to get a paycheck?
That's a great point.
I think that's the way it works in the NFL. So that's a hard life. That is a hard knock life for Ryan Pulley. Cut before it even really got going at all at Arizona. So yeah, it's early enough that maybe somebody else would take a flyer and see if they could find a way to make it work. We'll make it work with Nikki Chavanel from Rivals.com. We'll talk some Arkansas football recruiting next. This is ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live Ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
This is Matt Brown, PGA head golf professional. The 47th annual Ben Guerin 4-Ball is coming up May 31st, June 1st, and 2nd at the Ben Guerin Golf Course. The $150 per person entry fee includes 3 days of golf and a Titleist prize package. This tournament will fill up fast, so call the Pro Shop at 646-5301 or stop by today to reserve your spot in this Fort Smith Classic. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page for all upcoming events, including the ASGA Monk Wade Father-Son Tournament in July. When you think golf, think Ben Guerin.
Metal Mart offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shop, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Mart assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. Stop by 7320 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith or call 648-3342. You can also catch them online at metalmarts.com. Metal Mart, the right material for the right price.
Mosquito Joe. We see the signs in the yard. We see the vans on the street. We also hear you on the radio. Brad, why is Mosquito Joe so popular?
Well, Mosquito Joe's so popular because it works, and it's all in the name. At Mosquito Joe, we are solely focused on eliminating those pesky mosquitoes from your yard. We're not a jack of all trades. We do one thing, and we do it right. Mosquito Joe gets rid of mosquitoes. Give us a call at 479-202-9960 or visit our website, arkansas.mosquitojoe.com. Mention you heard us on ESPN and get your first service for $39.
Hey, this is Scott from Calico County, and it's time for some springtime specials. First, it's our chicken breast salads. Fresh salad fixins, including our own croutons, topped with juicy chunks of chicken prepared the way you like it. Fried, grilled, blackened, or even buffalo style. All served with a salad dressing we make in-house as well. Or your second choice is those same chunks of chicken wrapped in a warm tortilla to make a delicious wrap. Of course, both come with one of our cinnamon rolls. So whether it be breakfast, lunch, dinner, or catering, we're Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
Keep your stuff yours. Would you spend less than $500 to secure your home? Guardtronic offers a home security package for only $425 and $19.95 a month. If an alarm goes off, Guardtronic makes the call to get you help 24/7, 365. Celebrating 60 years in business, Guardtronic is a family-owned business, now in the third generation of folks who want to make sure your stuff stays yours. Call them today, 785-2323, or visit guardtronic.com. License E050.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr.
When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gets out of warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Swing and a miss! Oh my! Sawatsky does it for the second consecutive day. What a performance by the Arkansas Razorbacks. We talked about it the last 2 days. They do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Nikki Chavanel always gets it done at Rivals.com, covering all things Arkansas athletics, especially football recruiting, and she joins us every Tuesday right now, and she must be as relaxed as she's ever been on this show because she's fresh back from vacation. Nikki, how was vacation?
It was really good. I'm pretty tan.
But guys, don't drink Dominican water or the ice cube. It's not good for your stomach, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
It's funny. I found out not to use the ice the same way. We all kind of remember sometimes, don't drink the water in certain places. But then we forget that the ice that is in the ice maker is the same stuff. I'm sorry that happened.
That's okay. I've lost a few pounds, so I'm sure it'll wear off in a couple days.
Okay, so I guess you just got to hit the ground running because the signings keep it coming for Arkansas football. I saw the way too early rankings up to number 25 after signing a third wide receiver. That's how many signings right now for Chad Morris, and it's a few wide receivers already.
I think you mean commitments, but yes, they're up to 7 commits, 3 wide receivers, so they're pretty much almost done. I see them getting one more wide receiver for the class. They had 4 in the last class and 4 in this class, so they're really trying to quickly turn that room around for the better. And the new guy, Savion Williams, he's from Marshall, Texas, so he's another East Texas guy, and he's the 3rd one in this class so far, joining Crockett, Texas's Alan Horace, and Carthage, Texas's Tye Crawford, the offensive lineman. So they're really hitting that area hard like they should be. And Williams is a really impressive athlete. He's more on the raw side, but he has all the physical attributes that you want from one of those big wide receivers that Justin Stepp loves to recruit.
Talking with Nikki Chavanel right now here on Halftime. Nikki, tell us about the chances you think Bug Thompson has picking Arkansas.
Repeat? Oh, Jaron Thompson, yeah, Bug, from his Twitter.
Yeah, sorry, his nickname or whatever.
So from everything I have heard and from everything he said, LSU is really his dream school. And so he's a safety also from East Texas. He goes to Lufkin High School. He's a 4-star safety. So he's really mostly been interested in Arkansas because one of his best friends, Jalen Polk, has been heavily recruited by Arkansas since, I don't know, maybe like this time last year. And if LSU wants him, he's pretty much theirs. I do see them kind of slowing down on Polk as well because they do already have 3 wide receivers. And I think there's one guy that I think they'd probably prefer to fill the class with, and that's Colin Sullivan. He's a 4-star wide receiver out of Austin. So I'm not sure that they'll get the pair out of Lufkin right now.
And I think the other, correct me if I'm wrong in pronouncing his name, is Martavius French. I know he also listed Arkansas in his top 5.
Yes, so good news on that front. Sorry about the bummer on that first one. But so French is a 4-star linebacker out of Tennessee. He is the number 150th ranked player in the nation, according to Rivals. Him and his teammate from Whitehaven in Memphis, his name is Bryson Easton. They're both linebackers. This is really where Arkansas needs to close. They're struggling with linebacker recruits right now. And while on one hand, it's not that surprising because of their 2-10 record last season, they do have, Coach Chavis, the Chief, and his name carries a lot of weight, especially in Tennessee. So if they can close there, I think it'll, calm a lot of worries. But French said that he also favors LSU, but he said that the Arkansas staff, he has a really good relationship with them, and they basically treat him like he's part of the team already, and you love to hear that. So we'll see how that goes. They have a third teammate, Marion McDonald. He plays safety and linebacker, and if they were to offer him, I think they could get all 3, and that would be a huge help to the class.
Let's stay in Tennessee for a moment. I want to ask about Chris Morris because – out of the signees, I keep saying signees, I don't know why, but out of the commits.
It's a long way to go.
It is. Out of the commits for 2020, there's only one offensive lineman, and you mentioned Tye Crawford, 6'7", 310 out of Carthage, Texas. But Morris, it looks like he's somebody that Arkansas really is trying to target, a 4-star, and he's going to be making an official visit?
Yeah, so Chris Morris is one of the Rivals 100, so one of the top 100 players in the nation. and he's out of Memphis as well. And he just announced a couple weeks ago that he will be transferring to Memphis Central, where Arkansas actually has some close ties to the head coach there. So I really like their chances for him. A&M is also a big player there. Morris was supposed to come back to Arkansas for a visit a few weeks ago, but decided to stay at A&M for a couple more days, so that made people a little worried. But Morris has been to Arkansas at least 3 or 4 times already, so it's understandable that he wanted to spend a little more time in Aggieland and get a feel for it, because it's, a little farther away. He won't get to visit there as often. But he already said that he wants to take another official visit and an official visit before he makes a decision, so that's a good sign for Arkansas. And I'd give him maybe like a 60% chance right now, and that's pretty good given his offer list.
Give us just a quick preview on the column you wrote about Jashaud Stewart, linebacker, defensive end out of Jonesboro. I know you caught up with his high school head coach. What'd you learn about him?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Randy Coleman, and he's a great coach. He has Jonesboro on the rise for sure. They put out college prospects every year. So I trust his word on his guys. And Jashaud, from his description of him, I haven't yet seen him in person, but seen his film. He said he's pound for pound the strongest player you'll find, and he's 6'2" and about 225 right now. So I think they said they had to stop him from squatting more than his max right now, which is 500, because they were afraid he would get injured. Not that he couldn't do it, but they didn't want to risk an injury to him. So he's really strong, really quick off the line. He plays defensive end, but Arkansas has him projected to play linebacker at the next level, which is great. They need those linebackers. And it's great that he's one of the guys that gets after the quarterback, and that's, his first instinct. So I'm really excited about him, and he was the first in-state commit for this class, so hopefully the ball will start rolling for more of them.
Nikki Chavanel is our guest every Tuesday, Hog Beat Rivals. Nikki, TJ Hammonds is back. I know that was probably the biggest news for Arkansas football this week. Do you think running back has the most position depth now at Arkansas?
Fully healthy, maybe second. I really like the defensive line class that they have. Just across the board, they added a bunch of studs, and then they have the returning guys who didn't look so shabby last season either. So I'd probably give them the slight edge. But the running backs, they have Rakeem Boyd, and obviously you don't need multiple running backs to be great at the same time. You just need your head guy and then a couple backups. But them and the defensive line are definitely my top 2 best positions going into next season.
All right, Nick Starkel is supposed to be getting to Fayetteville today. Do you know what time he's getting in, or have you heard about that, kind of his plans getting to campus?
I'm not sure exactly what time he's coming in, but it's definitely today, and he'll be able to work out with some guys. And I know that some freshmen wide receivers are still here. I'm not sure about other guys, but he'll have some guys to throw to, and he'll start getting into the playbook a little bit more. I don't know how much he's already seen of it and how much they were able to share with him before he got here, but he'll be able to catch up a little bit more. And I'm not sure if Ben Hicks is here, but if he is, I'm sure he'll be helping him catch up as well, even though it's still a competition between the two. I know that Ben Hicks is a fierce competitor, but he's here to help the team. So whatever that entails, he's going to do it.
What sort of calendar are they on? I mean, everybody's got to be on campus, not too far off, right? I mean, they kind of got to be there in the next, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, so Starkel came a little bit earlier, and then most of the rest of the 2019 signees, which I think there are maybe, I want to say 16 or so of them, they are coming in May 26th, and then a couple more on June 1st, so just a week apart. And then they'll start ramping up with getting their own workouts done. And they've been sent workouts to do on their own at home. I know, for example, Colin Clay has added something like 20 pounds. So none of them have been just chilling and enjoying their senior years. I'm sure they have, but they've also been working very hard to be ready to come in and compete like they were told they'd have the chance to do when they signed.
For Starkel, it seemed that he made a pretty quick decision once he visited Fayetteville. Wasn't it the next day that he announced that he would come to Arkansas? So it felt like a quick decision, but not in a bad way. You just kind of show up and felt like this was the place for him.
Yeah, I think he just kind of knew that he would have the opportunity to be the guy here, as long as he could beat out Ben Hicks, and even if he doesn't, he still has the second year to be able to do that. And the competition behind him, while good, I think Starkel still has more experience than them, and he'll be able to groom KJ Jefferson a little bit more for either next season or the following season. But I think he just bonded with Coach Morris, and I think he's very excited about the prospect of being able to play the Aggies next season and the following season.
So your coworker Andrew Hutchinson got some pretty exciting news. He's going to be a dad. Has obviously, since you guys are coworkers and whatnot, you got an inside scoop of what you think he's going to name the kid, boy or girl?
I don't know the gender of the baby or anything, but I was one of the first people he told. I got the inside scoop. I was very excited for him. Don't know any names yet, but I'm so excited for that. I'm hoping it's Nikki, maybe Nick, something like that. But very excited for Hutch, and excited to see how he handles the new dad life.
I've got a great name for the baby, Stat Pack Hutchinson.
Yes.
Oh man.
Something statistical. So he's getting to go down to Hoover now. Honestly, as much as he likes baseball, Nikki, what do you think he's more excited about, having a kid or getting to go down to the SEC tournament?
Well, he told me that, they were just kind of letting things happen naturally, so it was a bit of a surprise for him that they were expecting, but they're very excited. And for those who don't know, the Hogbeat subscribers put together quite a large sum of money to send him to Hoover for the SEC tournament. So all I'm hoping for is that the Hawks don't disappoint and go home early.
All right, well, I'm going to try to drag Hutch over to see Rickwood Field, one of the oldest baseball parks still in operation in the United States. It's right there in Birmingham, and he's a baseball guy on a baseball trip, so he's not allowed to say no. I'll let him know that.
He'll definitely be there.
All right, very good. Nikki, we'll be with you back on Tuesday next week. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Great talking with Nikki Chavanel as always. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the first hour of halftime. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Don't spend life sitting on your hands. You're listening to Halftime. It's Southern Tire Mart Free Break Inspection Tuesday.
Get ready for the Great American Shootout. The 86th Annual Old Fort Days Rodeo returns Memorial Day through June 1st. Presented by Cherokee Casino. Come, experience the tradition of Arkansas's oldest rodeo. The return of freestyle bullfighting. Plus all the bull snorting PRCA rodeo action. Tickets are on sale now at oldfortdaysrodeo.com. The 86th Annual Old Fort Days Rodeo. The Great American Shootout.
ProCare Family Health with locations in Bonanza, Chaffee Crossing, and at their new location in Poto. 1103 Dewey Avenue in Poto is your primary care clinic, acting as a principal point of health care to patients of all ages. Their emphasis is to educate patients about their health and how to maintain it throughout their lifetime. They are devoted to the best research models so that their patients can get the highest standard of care. ProCare Family Health can assist with weight loss, testosterone injections, diabetes, and cortisone shots. ProCare Family Health, dedicating to meeting your health care needs.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
This Memorial Day weekend, it's the 18th annual Madison May, brought to you by Come Get You Some and Performance Center, presented by Extreme Diesel. A family fun weekend of off-road competition at Bird's Adventure Center in Cass, Arkansas. Live music, a poker run along with great prizes, and all the off-road competition you can handle. All four-wheelers and UTVs, welcome. For event information, call 479-782-6833. Camping info, call 479-667-4066. Madness in May, this Memorial Day weekend, brought to you by Come Get You Some, presented by Extreme Diesel.
Fresh means fresh, as in no preservatives. That's right. If it's fresh, it doesn't need to be preserved. Try Jim's 100% premium Wisconsin cheese. Fresh whole milk mozzarella, wood smoked provolone, old world style Romano and Parmesan. The freshest all-you-can-eat salad bar in town. No preservatives and fresh every time. At the corner of Greenwood and Gary in Fort Smith.
Hi, I'm Drake Smith with Pinnacle Telecom, here with longtime Pinnacle customer Harry Robinson, owner of Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Harry, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with Pinnacle Telecom?
Well, it's been a great experience. I've been doing business with the phone portion of Pinnacle Telecom for 10 years. You've got 2 fiber optic lines running in here to my business now. One's running a full gigabit of service. The other one's running about 400 megabits. I can't tell you how much it's helped our business in the service department and other departments here. It's getting my guys where they can invest their time and get more jobs done by being able to get the downloads done faster. Drake, I mean, it's just been fantastic.
Well, Harry, it's been our pleasure having you as a valued customer all these years. At Pinnacle Telecom, we take pride in providing local service, local support, and speed you can count on. Give us a call today, 479-242-0000. Pinnacle Telecom, tomorrow's technology today.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
This next segment on Halftime is brought to you by the Kevin Hickey Law Firm, the #1 resource for your child advocacy needs. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Pack your bags, load them up, gas the car, and raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Heads up, Big Ten and Big 12 football fans, because many of your games are on Fox television. And if you are one of the better teams in those leagues, Ohio State, Michigan, OU, Texas, you're going to be playing in some earlier ball games than you might expect. Fox has announced that their best football game of the day for college football is going to be airing at noon Eastern time, which doesn't seem to jibe very much because normally the best time slots are later in the afternoon. But I think you can see what Fox might be going for, because CBS has their best game at, 2:30, 3 o'clock?
Yep.
And then ESPN has their best game at primetime Saturday night. Fox is trying to carve out that 12 o'clock slot for their own. And what do you call that, Ty? Is that some out-of-the-box thinking?
I think it's an Eastern idea. Now, we'll see what happens. You think about ESPN being a cable-only subscription service. You think about that Fox is trying to pump up their Brady Quinn, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Urban Meyer, Rob Stone, quote-unquote college game day show leading right into that game. Plus, they don't have to compete with anyone. You've seen the games on at 11?
Yeah.
It's trash. So it's an interesting idea. We'll see if it works this upcoming season.
You'd do that, wouldn't you? You would spend the entire day Saturday, 12 o'clock, watching the best game on Fox, the SEC game of the week on 3 o'clock.
Absolutely.
And then ESPN later on that night.
As a fan that's not going to be attending the games, but 11 a.m. games aren't that fun.
Curl up with your pizza with your wings, and your second hour of halftime next on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
With no money down.
during the Nissan Summer of SUVs event at Orr Nissan in Fort Smith. Like America's most affordable SUV, the 2019 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks is sporty and good on gas. And today at Orr Nissan, it's 0 down and just $318 a month. Looking for something bigger but still sporty? The 2019 Nissan Rogue Sport is 0 down, $326 a month. And the best-selling SUV in the Nissan lineup, the 2019 Nissan Rogue, is 0 down and only $362 a month. Plus, Orr Nissan is the only dealer in Arkansas that gives you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So head directly to Orr Nissan at 6520 Orr Park Drive in Fort Smith under the giant American flag.
All offers are for financing. Payments based on 17 months and 4.77%. 0 down. Plus tax title licensor or NissanFortSmith.com for more details.
Nissan, innovation that excites.
It's your piece of land, your point of pride, your place of peace and quiet. Your yard means something to you. So mow like you mean business with a professional-grade Gravely zero-turn mower. Gravely means comfort. Gravely means strength. Gravely means cutting precision. Gravely mowers mean business. Gravely, build to mow the distance.
Visit Bush Machine and Tractor, 7301 0th Street in Fort Smith, or at bushtractor.com.
Hug Chevrolet Buick GMC in Charleston has doubled our pre-owned inventory, and we've got to make room so everything will fit on the lot. So now is the absolute best time to come in and get a great deal on one of our premium pre-owned vehicles at Hug Chevrolet Buick GMC in Charleston. We have everything from GM-certified pre-owned vehicles to competitive make imports and domestics. Take the short drive to Hug Chevrolet Buick GMC in Charleston and drive home in your next vehicle, or visit us online at huggm.com. Hug Chevrolet Buick GMC, closer than you think.
What are people saying about Links at Chaffee Crossing?
It was by far the best barbecue I've had, along with great sides.
Great place to sit down and watch the game on the TV while you're having your favorite drink or beer.
Come and enjoy Links at Chaffee Crossing. Relaxed atmosphere, great barbecue, burgers, and more. Plenty of TVs to watch the game room with a pool table, along with a full bar and lots of cold beer. Good food and good times are all at Links at Chaffee Crossing, off Custer Boulevard in Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Partly cloudy sky tonight. Few stray showers or storms possible north tonight. An overnight low in the low to mid 50s. You still could see those isolated showers and storms north on Tuesday. High temperatures 78 to 82. We're in the low to mid 80s on Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Mosquito Joe. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your outside fun this year. Call Mosquito Joe at 479-202-9960 to keep your yard mosquito-free, or visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
I hate everything you just said. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Good morning, Vietnam! Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, I'd have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Wait, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Moving into the second hour, halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Later on in this hour, we have our interview with Connor Noland that we are playing back. It's quarterback day on halftime, as we spoke quite a bit at length about the arrival of Nick Starkel on campus this afternoon, and we will speak at length with Connor Noland, who now, I mean, I know we'll still call him quarterback, but right now he's pitcher. He's not. It ain't football season, so he's not quarterback Connor Noland right now. He's pitcher Connor Noland right now, and there's a difference, a big difference.
And I think the consensus of most Razorback fans, if you ask them, they would consider him more of a pitcher at this point, not only because you've gotten to see him more in that position because he only started one game against Tulsa during football, but you've had also a lot more success in that area. I mean, you look at what he's done. I know we talked about how he felt like he kind of turned around after the Vanderbilt series where he didn't play great in that, or he didn't record an out. He was very specific on that. He was like, I didn't record an out. I was bad. But just kind of the turnaround. But I mean, we got to remember that him and Wicklander are both true freshmen. Now, I know you always refer to the fact that this team's really good this year, but they are just going to be stacked coming back with the guys they got coming back next year.
There's no doubt about it. I think they will be, but that's 2020, and it's still 2019. But
Yep.
this was about that time, 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago. And I remember I was in Hoover watching batting practice after I'd interviewed Dave Van Horn for the broadcast, and it just hit me at that moment. And it's like, Dave, I know we're playing right now, 2017, but holy moly, you're going to have a really good 2018 team. And we got into that a little bit, and look how good the 2018 team was. I have the same feeling right now thinking about the 2020 baseball team. At the end of the regular season in 2019, where you're probably a top 8 national seed and on the short list of national contenders once again. It's the golden age of Arkansas baseball, Ty, and we're lucky to be living in it.
Phil doesn't like to toot his own horn, but when I was getting a chance to watch the game in the press box with him and Bubba, you have, who was Zach Hess, correct?
Zach Hess, yes.
Okay, so Zach Hess gets to the mound, and Phil and Bubba were kind of curious. It's like, why would they do this with Arkansas being so good at hitting fastballs? And not a moment later, after Phil said, this is really Heston's strength, it's hitting fastballs. What happens? Hess throws a fastball, and Heston cranks it to right center.
Boom.
So I'm not going to say Phil's a prophet, but he's about as close to it as there is to it when it comes to predicting things when it comes to Arkansas baseball. So if you were to say that the team's going to win the College World Series this year, there's a good chance it might happen.
I'm going to say that they're a contender. They are a contender to be a national to be the national champion. Whether it'll happen or not, that's not for me to say. But I did say about the same time last year that I think they're on the short list, and they are on the short list today too. But that's not anything to get into when it comes to negative things. If there are a few things you got out there that you got to tell to get off your lawn.
Did you hear me? I said get off my lawn now.
Old man, my ass.
Perhaps I could be of some assistance.
You're on Facebook, huh?
Well, I've been trying to figure it out. I joined about 10 minutes ago.
Well, better late than never.
Get off my lawn.
So it's the PGA Championship coming up this weekend at Bethpage Black. And he's not a former champ, because once you win that tournament, you're a champion of that tournament. John Daly, who burst onto the scene, was at the PGA, I believe. He has gotten the waiver from the PGA of America to use a cart instead of walking, like professional golfers are supposed to do. And he's getting the waiver from the PGA of America because he suffers from osteoarthritis, and says he can barely even walk for about 6 holes, and then that's it. There's just no further to go. So because osteoarthritis is considered a disability, then this falls under the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's not really a recovery from an injury; it's a disability, a disease in this case. And so the PGA of America has allowed Daly to use a cart at the PGA Championship, and this has ginned up a lot of controversial opinions, and that includes coming from the one and only Mr. Golf himself, who said specifically that when it comes to thinking about John Daly using a cart at the PGA Championship, Tiger Woods remembers doing something pretty special that didn't involve a cart.
As far as JD taking a cart, well, I walked with a broken leg, so.
He's reminding us of 2008 when he won the U.S. Open. That was where was that? At Torrey Pines, 2008 U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. Tiger Woods won that with 2 stress fractures and an ACL injury, the knee injury that I think was fixed in surgery a couple weeks after the U.S. Open. He had to force a playoff on the last hole Sunday, and then won the 18-hole playoff against Rocco Mediate, pretty much in immense pain the entire weekend. I remember the week leading into the U.S. Open that year, he could barely even get in a practice round. And then he goes in and he wins the whole thing. And I really don't have a problem with John Daly using a cart in this instance, because I view the issue that he's having differently than an injury in the case of Tiger Woods. And the other thing, too, is, how old is John Daly now? Is he 54, 55?
He's up there. He's getting up there.
These are the sort of injuries that, now I understand, yes, he hasn't always taken care of himself, or ever, perhaps, taken care of himself in the way that you would think of taking care of yourself. But osteoarthritis can hit anybody. I mean, that can come on. That can come on in older years, or in this case, middle-aged years. And I don't know if it necessarily has anything to do with how you've taken care of yourself. I think that he deserves the ability to go play, and it also serves under first world problems. But essentially, Tiger Woods is telling John Daly to get off his lawn.
Yeah, that's an interesting kind of dynamic. The fact that Tiger's mentioning what he had to go through compared to what John had to go through. But I'm not gonna criticize Arkansas's finest, John Daly, for having to get in the cart. I can't do that, Phil. I just can't. It's not in my nature to criticize an Arkansas.
You want John Daly at these events.
Oh, yeah. At the nearest Hooters. That's where you want him.
Well, I think you want him on the golf course,
and participating too.
But you want him on the golf course and whatever pair of orange pants he's going to wear, and I think you want him there. I know some have described it as maybe it'll be like a sideshow, but I think it also shows a respect to the thought that even and golf is the sort of game where your skills don't diminish as quickly as they do for, say, playing if you're a basketball player or baseball or playing football, in which case your skills are deteriorating but the moment you step on the field at the age of 23. To show respect to the idea that some of these diseases like osteoarthritis can be inflicted on anybody, in that age. I think it makes sense. I hope he does. I hope I know he's going to ride, but I hope he does well and maybe has a chance to visit with Tiger about it some other time.
All right, so my first get off my lawn, Phil, is Joel Embiid. We talked about yesterday the excruciating loss that Philadelphia suffered at the hands of Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors, hitting that corner shot that bounced at the rim what seemed to be like 10 times. It was one of the more bizarre shots that went in that I've ever seen. Joel Embiid is not happy to the people that think that Brett Brown should be fired.
I heard about all these rumors and stuff, and I just thought it was bull. He's done a fantastic job. He's been there through everything, and then this year I think he grew even more as a coach. He learned. We all learned.
So Brett Brown is going to be retained for this next season, according to manager partner Josh Harris, who's part of the Philadelphia 76ers organization. Mark Stein, who's a longtime ESPNer, now works for the New York Times. He was reporting that Brett Brown and the Philadelphia 76ers had to make the conference finals in order for him to keep his job, which I don't know is the best idea to ever put on a coach, put on the pressure on a coach that you have to reach a certain point or you have to win a certain game in order to keep your job. I just don't see that happening for the best multiple occasions in different sports. But
isn't that a question that gets asked to Jerry Jones almost every week, in the first 3-4 weeks of the season? Are you going to make a change if they don't make the playoffs? What's going to happen with Jason Garrett? Are you making the playoffs? It always comes to that.
And it always seems like that Jason Garrett has something on Jerry Jones because you're just surprised that he's been there this long. But yeah, Joel Embiid just telling everyone, Philadelphia reporters, fans that want Brett Brown gone. And I mean, how we've seen occurrences in sports. I think of the Stan Van Gundy and Dwight Howard, where Howard was undermining him during his time as coach and trying to get him fired. But you like to see players stand up for their coaches, and that shows the relationship they have, and that shows that they want them there and they want to keep getting better and hopefully eventually win something there. I don't know if Phil ever will with that team because you got a couple contracts of free agents you got to deal with this summer, but it's kind of cool to see that in today's society and when a lot of times there's so much conflict between coaches and players.
Well, it didn't seem that Terry Rozier had his coaches back when he went on a couple of the shows on ESPN today, and really it started with him talking on the morning show with Mike Greenberg on Get Up, And they specifically asked him about what it was like to play with Kyrie Irving, and then it morphed into something else later on. And it didn't really seem like Terry Rozier was all that pleased, although he tried to hide it with what it was like to play in these situations. You can just tell his answers tell you what he's thinking anyway.
What is it like playing with Kyrie? Watching him from the outside, he seemed to have so many different times this season when he seemed genuinely unhappy. That was from the outside. What was it like playing with him?
He's a great guy, great leader. You just have to adjust to his style. And whatever Kyrie wants done, that's what he's going to show it. That's what he wants done, and you have to adjust to his style of play and how he goes about every game and every day.
Let's just get that straight there. He's saying he's a great leader as long as you adjust to his style. He's not going to change for anybody. You're going to be his player, and that's it. And it went further.
What do you think your team did in trying to adjust to his style?
I think guys was getting it, especially towards the end of the season. But like I said, we'd come in the game, and it'd be a different game plan than what we kind of expected. We went through in practice. So it was different.
What does that?
Right then and there, he just says it right there. The game plan that we talked about and practiced the day before, once we got onto the court, it was completely different. Fantastic leader. Wants to play with him the rest of his career.
That's one of those backhanded slaps that you get from your grandma that it sounds like a compliment initially, and then you realize what she's actually saying, and she's like, wow, Grandma, that's just quite rude. Props to Terry Rozier for keeping his composure and not just lambasting the guy, but at the same time, it just seems like the more and more players have come out about Kyrie Irving saying how unpleasant he is to play with, and when there's smoke, there's fire sometimes, and it seems like that seems to be the case here.
Well, and then he went later on in the morning. This is what happened this morning on ESPN. This was on First Take with Max Kellerman, and here once again is our hero Terry Rozier on playing for the Celtics.
I feel like it's a little bit of both, and I feel like that, along with the coaches, them treating Gordon and Kyrie, I wouldn't say different than everybody else, but I feel like they just treated them like they was on that level where there were no adjustments that could be made because they are who they are, and we never figured it out. Figured it out after that.
No, they treat everybody differently. Essentially. He's saying that they treat Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving differently than anybody else because of who they were. I think it sounded to me that if any of the Boston Celtics executives, if Brad Stevens was watching ESPN this morning, that Terry Rozier was almost begging, pleading, please, get me off your lawn.
Yeah, and I don't know if he'll be a Boston Celtic. I don't know his contract situation off the top of my head, and I love Brad Stevens. Like, Brad Stevens is one of my favorite coaches to watch, listen to, and just kind of learn from. But he even admitted after the series, like, this is on me. Like, they got spanked by Giannis. Giannis and the Bucks just absolutely crushed them. It's hard sometimes because you got a lot of egos you got to deal with, and they got a lot of young pieces kind of mixing in with the veterans that he mentioned with Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. But, yeah, that's just a tough situation. So we're going to keep the NBA conversation going. And, Phil, we're going to talk about the rigged lottery that occurred in 1985.
The team whose logo is in this envelope will have the first pick in the NBA draft.
Dave DeBuscher.
The second pick in the 1985 NBA draft goes to the Indiana Pacers.
The horseshoe works. Basketball is back in New York City, my friend.
So, Phil, I thought about saving this piece for tomorrow, which changed my mind. But since the NBA draft lottery is tonight, we're going to mention that, what the order is in the last segment. I figured I'd just go and talk about it. Phil, to those who say the 1985 draft lottery was not rigged, can just get off my lawn. There are so many different conspiracy theories that I am 100% going to believe, whether it's the little bent tip of the envelope of the Knicks or the frozen envelope theory, which just I'll believe it. Like, I'm not one of those guys that just locks into a conspiracy theory and is just all aboard.
No, you make up your own conspiracy theories. That's what you do. You don't glom onto somebody else's. You come up with your own completely crazy conspiracy theory.
Occasionally. But to anyone who thinks the 1985 draft lottery was not fixed in order to get Patrick Ewing to the last place Knicks, they can just get off my lawn because I will 100% believe that until
Are you saying that this lottery will be fixed tonight to get Zion Williamson to the same franchise?
Man, I don't.
That's what you're trying. Here's what we need by the end of the show. Can I assign some halftime homework for the last segment? Can you concoct a conspiracy in the next 40 minutes that would get the New York Knicks a guaranteed top overall pick in the draft?
Well, if you look at it, they're tied with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Phoenix Suns to get that top pick. So it would be less a conspiracy if it would actually play out that way. But
so you're saying they don't need a weighted envelope.
No.
They don't need a frozen tip.
They do in order to be 100% sure getting Zion Williamson to the Knicks. But I don't know if that's going to happen tonight because it's just I don't know if it's easier or harder to rig things today with social media and so many different footage and whatnot. But I hope that doesn't happen. I want the game to be pure, Phil. But it was not pure on June. I think it was June 18th, 1985. That's when David Stern and the NBA just cheated the Indiana Pacers and the other NBA franchises that day.
So my last is what I've got to be doing right. Actually, I did it before the show today. I packed a suitcase for 10 days, and I figured out a goal from last year. Every baseball season, working for the University of Arkansas, people would ask, "So, what are your goals for the year?" And my goal is to just have a good broadcast each year, but my real goal is to do laundry in Omaha, because that means that I've been there for 8 or 9 days in the middle of June, and you run out of clean clothing and clean underwear, and you got to do some road laundry, which is a whole different set of laundry than doing your home laundry. It's a little dirtier to do it on the road. But I'm not doing road laundry in Hoover. That's not a place I'm going to do this stuff. I've done it once before. I'm not a fan of the laundromats near the hotel in Hoover, Alabama, so I'm bringing enough clothes for the road trip. I've packed for 10 days, which would take us all the way to the SEC championship game, just in case, because you don't want to be the guy who's left wearing, a pair of dirty underwear when you're sitting there in the sun and on the day before Memorial Day. So,
Smart.
It is. I've been packing bags now for road trips for 20 years, and it becomes a knee-jerk reaction. It becomes something that you can do without even realize that you did. But it still took 45 minutes to get everything set and straightened and put in the bag properly so that I can get up tomorrow, get the kids to school, and then get up to XNA where I'm doing the show tomorrow at XNA to meet the baseball team for the flight out to College Station. But it's very nice and neat right now. This bag looks immaculate, but it's not going to be looking very immaculate in about 6 or 7 days. So I live in so many different places sometimes, and this is the time of the year where all of my stuff just gets splattered all around. And packing for 10 or 11 days is just is a heavy thought. It's a lot of travel that's coming up. So this whole packing episode, I just needed to get off my lawn.
And I'm glad it's finally off here. I'm glad you actually didn't procrastinate this time and didn't wait till tomorrow about, 3 hours before you have to leave up to Fayetteville and realize you had packed. So honestly, props to you for doing that, Phil.
You know my nature. I would have normally procrastinated it and just thrown a bunch of clothing into a bag and said, "Let's go, sucker."
All right, remind me real quick, do you use Snapchat?
I have Snapchat, but I haven't opened it for over a year.
Don't do it. Don't do it now because
it sucks the battery life like a mosquito.
It does. There's this new filter with Snapchat that changes your face into the opposite sex of whatever you are.
Oh, I've seen this, and it fooled me on a couple of pictures that I saw posted on Twitter.
It's very creepy. I just sent you a pics of some of your friends down in Little Rock, how they posted some stuff, and it's not good, and I don't know why they're doing this. So for graduation this weekend, it's 2 or 3 hours long, so we get really bored. I'm sitting next to some girlfriends, and they are obviously on their phone on Snapchat doing their social media thing. And they would poke me on the shoulder. I'd lean over and they'd show the camera in my face, and I would be looking at their screen. It would be me. All of a sudden, I'd turn into a beautiful blonde chick with luscious hair and whatnot, which is it's just weird, man. I'm not a fan. So the new Snapchat filter and just Snapchat in general can just get off my line. I don't want to see that. I don't.
I told Snapchat to get off my phone. Now that I look at it, I don't have it anymore. It's not on the phone any longer.
Good. That's a millennial icon app or whatever you want to call it that you don't need right now, or you don't need in general.
The thing that really got me to kick that thing off the phone was what you show the kids the unicorn throwing up a rainbow, essentially, right? There's the filter where you puke in the rainbow.
Yeah.
Rainbow puke. Everybody wants that. It's like frog spit, right? It's a sherbet flavor. Rainbow throw up. Show it to the kids once to say, "Oh, look, isn't this funny?" And then every hour for the next 3 weeks straight, they need to see the filter so that they can make the face.
Nope. And you say,
"Oh, I'm sorry, Snapchat broke. It doesn't work any longer. Sorry, kids.
Sorry, kids. Daddy broke his phone. Snapchat doesn't. All the other apps work, but Snapchat doesn't work.
Go make some slime somewhere, and turn that into unicorn throw up. All right, that's our get off my lawn. Hey, we'll come back after the break, and we do have Connor Nolan coming up in about 12 minutes. Halftime continues. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime. It's Southern Tire Mart Free Brake Inspection Tuesday. This is the Morning Rush.
What happened to the guy that used to make the kettle corn at Baum Stadium? You're not there anymore? No. You can't get fresh kettle corn at the ballpark. You can get kettle corn, but it's in a bag. That was one of the best things about going to Baum.
You need to have Hunter Yurchek on the show and ask him, hey,
what happened? Of all the things, we got to get resolved.
Priority number one.
I mean, that was like one of the best parts of going to the game.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
There's a difference between do it yourself and do it for a living. At the Home Depot, we get that. And we're here to help pros get the job done with the products and brands you trust. Technology to keep your job on track. Job site delivery to save you time. And bulk pricing on over 4,000 items every day to save you money. When you've got a job, we're on the job. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
World Class Fitness in Fort Smith is not like other gyms. Open 24/7 so you can work out however, whenever you want. With women's only workout area, free childcare, racquetball courts, and large free weight area, this is the gym for you. World Class Fitness is not that gym. There are no limitations to your goals, gains, or success. No contract and special discount pricing options available. So visit WCFit.com or stop by World Class Fitness today. Don't forget to try clean cooking for your meal prep needs.
This is Mark Hurst. How important is new technology? That's a question I was recently asked by a student at a career day presentation at a local school. At Hurst Family Dental Care, we use new technology like digital x-rays, an iTero scanner instead of those messy impressions, and an Invisalign outcome simulator which can show you within minutes how Invisalign can straighten your teeth. Give us a call at 474-1972 and let us show you how new technology makes a difference in the way we are able to care for you. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
The new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford has a bigger selection with over 200 vehicles in stock, personal service from a staff that is ready to work with you, and an all-new service department that's friendly and will fix your car right the first time. This is our promise to you at the new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal, Oklahoma.
Harry Robinson Salisal Ford.
Get ready for the Great American Shootout. The 86th Annual Old Fort Days Rodeo returns Memorial Day through June 1st. Presented by Cherokee Casino. Come, experience the tradition of Arkansas's oldest rodeo. The return of freestyle bullfighting. Plus all the bull snorting PRCA rodeo action. Tickets are on sale now at oldfortdaysrodeo.com. The 86th Annual Old Fort Days Rodeo. The Great American Shootout.
34 million Americans smoke. That's about 1 in 7 people. Not every smoker wants to continue using cigarettes. Juul was designed by smokers for smokers to be a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Juul is a vapor product that contains nicotine for a satisfying transition. If you're one of the 34 million adults who smoke, know that there is an alternative to cigarettes. Make the switch at Juul.com. That's JUUL.com. Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr.
Well, you know you make me wanna kick my heels up.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Here it comes. Swing and a base hit to center. Rounding third is Washington. He's going to score. Arkansas wins the ball game. An RBI single by Kirstad in the bottom of the ninth inning.
You know, Ty, it's been a minute since I did the show with you in person, and usually when I'm there, when I come do the show with you, we always end up going to a specific spot in the fort, which has become one of my favorite restaurants in the entire state. I'm missing going to Art's Barbecue because, oh my goodness, every time we go, I leave and I feel like I probably needed another 10 minutes to digest.
Yeah, Arts is tremendous. Last time we were there, we were watching the Auburn, I believe, New Mexico State game with Wade just sitting out there. I thought, it's awesome. I always get the Hog Wild burger. It's topped with barbecue, and I dump a bunch of hot sauce. I mean, it's just awesome. I can't. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish the rest of this show right now since I'm thinking about it. But Arts is now a sponsor for Halftime, which you're excited about. Saturdays, you got $1 off burgers. You're going to have to make it up here so we can actually go back again, Phil.
Oh, I think that'll definitely happen.
Yeah, so you got $1 off burgers on Saturdays. They have ribeyes, which are slow smoked and grilled to perfection. You got a BLT. You've had the bacon before, Phil. And when I was first interviewing here in Fort Smith with John and Tommy, that's where John initially took me. He's like, we're going to get a side of bacon. And I was like, what's the hype all about? And then I found out what the hype was all about. Their bacon is slow smoked. It's fantastic. They also have the Art Attack burger, which has the house smoked bacon, ham, a fried egg, and a hand breaded onion ring, which, Phil, if you haven't had the onion rings, they're to die for. You dip them in their homemade ranch. Absolutely phenomenal. And all you can eat catfish on Friday nights. When you get done with baseball, we're going to go on this binger that we've been talking about. Before we do that, we're going to go to Arts, and you, me, Tommy, and John, we're going to eat all-you-can-eat catfish on Friday nights. Arts Barbecue and Burgers off Rogers Avenue next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
All right, we'll make a date. We'll stick to it, and we'll go to Arts and then crush.
Yeah.
Which is basically the same thing. Going to Arts to me is crushing.
The only bad thing is we're just going to be so full from eating so much that which is actually probably better for our health overall that we won't drink as much. But
happiness.
Yeah.
It's just that much happier.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't walk out without feeling happy and stuffed. Do we have time for a couple of the sound bites from Coach Musselman?
Yeah, we can get a few in here. So,
well, he keeps going. I mean, he is a busy man.
Circling,
he really
man.
is. I mean, and that's not to say whatever he's doing with the team, with the guys, but he's on a lot of podcasts now. Been on a lot of talk shows, and he was on with John Rothstein, one of the national basketball experts for the college game, and had some things to talk about what makes Arkansas unique as far as university athletics goes.
It's unlike most states that have multiple universities that they root for, and states that are kind of divided where they have one or two focal point programs, and here it's all Arkansas Razorbacks throughout the entire state.
Unintentionally taking a shot at Arkansas. I love when, and he doesn't know like the theories and the different rivalries between Arkansas and Arkansas State, and how Arkansas State fans feel inferior and they feel like they don't get the appreciation they deserve. But he's right. This is a red state. Now, I'm not talking about a Red Wolf state. I'm talking about an Arkansas Razorback red state. And that helps as a college coach. He's the second most probably recognizable guy in the state of Arkansas behind Chad Morris, I'd say.
So I want to hear the bite about him. You mentioned he was at the Arkansas baseball game, one of the baseball games against LSU, and he talked to John Rothstein about the atmosphere and what stood out from that.
It's campus-wide, John. I mean, I went to the baseball game this weekend, and the support. Our baseball team played LSU. They had over 10,000 people. You're talking about a fan base that even tailgates for baseball games. Football draws, basketball draws. And again, it's just kind of a unique place that has incredible support And not do they just come out to games, but they're really, really vocal and really into what happens during the course of a game. And we found that out when I was with LSU at Bud Walton. When they would go on a run, it becomes deafening inside.
I think it was kind of funny that he was taken aback by people tailgating for baseball, but I've had buddies that have tailgated for basketball games, which I think is the more kind of obscure tailgating spot, because football, that's like it's put together. It's 2 and 2. You think tailgating and football. Baseball, it's probably second on the tier of those three, but I mean, I feel if I guarantee you, if he starts having successful seasons, takes them to a Sweet 16 or Elite 8, people will tailgate for basketball even too.
I think you're right. I think they're any excuse to get out a grill, and go watch a win at the same time. All right, we'll step aside. We've got our interview with Connor Nolan coming up next as halftime continues on a Tuesday. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
Get lower payments with no money down during the Nissan Summer of SUVs event at Orr Nissan in Fort Smith. Like America's most affordable SUV, the 2019 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks is sporty and good on gas. And today at Orr Nissan, it's 0 down and just $318 a month. Looking for something bigger but still sporty? The 2019 Nissan Rogue Sport is 0 down, $326 a month. And the best-selling SUV in the Nissan lineup, the 2019 Nissan Rogue, is 0 down and only $362 a month. Plus, Orr Nissan is the only dealer in Arkansas that gives you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So head directly to Orr Nissan at 6520 Orr Park Drive in Fort Smith under the giant American flag.
All offers are for financing. Payments based on 17 months and 4.77%. 0 down. Plus tax title license or NissanFortSmith.com for more details.
Nissan, innovation that excites.
Kick off the season the right way with a new RV from Crabtree RV in Alma. Crabtree is extending our RV show pricing all season long. Check out our spring show specials like a Salem 207 with a slide and bunks for $147 a month. And with RV show pricing, you can take up to $10,000 off of MSRP on new travel trailers and up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels. And we'll still give you more for your trade than the other guys. At Crabtree RV in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Call them at 479-997-2366 or log on to BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Tommy Kraft for the Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from the Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, the Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, controlled access, and card readers. Call the Fence Man for a quick, no obligations quote. 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
This next segment on Halftime is brought to you by the Kevin Hickey Law Firm, the #1 resource for your child advocacy needs. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
1-1 deals. Bonfield, a high fly, left field, deep, back is Hibbler to the wall, and that's out of here! Luke Bonfield with a go-ahead home run!
I tell you what, he didn't miss that one, Phil. He left the fastball up, and Luke just absolutely crushed that ball to left field.
Let the Lukes rain down on Luke Bonfield.
Back on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com on a Tuesday across the Natural State. And we're going to get into some Arkansas baseball right now with one of the three main starting pitchers for the Razorbacks, freshman Connor Noland, who is from Greenwood, of course, joining us here. Connor, how you doing today? I know we got a long road trip that's starting tomorrow. Are you packed yet?
I'm doing good, and no, I haven't started yet, but I'll get there by the end of the day.
How much laundry can you do in one day? Because there's a chance that you're gone for 9 or 10 days. It's not, just like a regular trip of 3 days over a weekend. So how quickly can you do laundry?
I honestly need to do it probably like 2 hours, hopefully. That'll be efficient with the laundry doing.
Well, it's been a very interesting season for Arkansas baseball, and for you personally, really, when you look at what's happened, like in the last calendar year, because the state championship baseball games would have been when Arkansas baseball is in Hoover. So in the course of these last 12 months, and you win a state championship at Baum-Walker Stadium, you just made your last regular season start there. It has always seemed like that's a ballpark you are comfortable in, isn't it?
No doubt. I mean, I've played there multiple times before I even stepped on the field as a Razorback, so I was comfortable before, and having the fans there, that just adds more, confidence to you, and I mean that stadium's something else.
You're a really interesting pitcher, and I want to get into some of your style of pitching as we go throughout this interview. But I want to quickly just get an idea of your thoughts of the weekend against LSU. It's a successful weekend when you take 2 out of 3 from anybody, especially LSU. Now I know that they unable to pull out a win in the game that you pitched, but you pitched very, very well. A really positive weekend for Arkansas baseball, wasn't it?
Definitely. It's always good to get a series win in the SEC. Obviously, we would like to sweep because obviously we like beating everybody, but we'll take a series win for sure.
Talk with Connor Noland, right-handed pitcher for the Arkansas Razorbacks here on Halftime. Connor, what was the point in the season where you really felt like you turned it around and got your stuff back?
I think after Vanderbilt, obviously that didn't go well, and I didn't even get an out, so that was tough, but that's just really when my mentality changed. I just told myself I was going to come after hitters and, just really attack the zone. And I just think my workload changed during the week. My bullpens are more effective, and working with Coach Hobbs, just, getting myself ready for the week and actually preparing the way I should. And that really just changed my whole game around and made me more comfortable and just being a better pitcher all around.
You had a pretty good head baseball coach in high school, Trey Holloway, but Dave Van Horn, I feel like, is just another level, just what he's done at Arkansas and even Nebraska. What have you learned in less than a year just playing for him as a pitcher, and then also with the addition of Matt Hobbs?
No doubt. Obviously, Trey was a great coach, and I learned a lot from him, and he really turned me into a great pitcher in high school. And then when I came to Arkansas, obviously being with Coach Van Horn and Coach Hobbs, they just taken my knowledge of the game and how to work hitters and what I want to throw and what counts, and just becoming an all-around pitcher and knowledge of the game. It's they're obviously two good minds to talk to about that, so they've rubbed off on me in that area.
And one of the things that's interesting about watching you pitch, Connor, is that you throw about 5 or even 6 different pitches sometimes. So my question for you is, how long does it take for you to have a feel when you come out of the bullpen as to what is working for you on that specific day?
It doesn't take long. I mean, once I get on the mound during warm-up pitches, I know what feels right and what I'm comfortable with. And honestly, sometimes when I come out of the bullpen, I don't know what's going to work. Sometimes in the bullpen it feels off, and then I get into the game and it's really working. So it really just depends. In the moment once I get on the mound during the actual game.
And then it's all about figuring out with you and Casey Opitz how you're going to have to fight through some things here and there, and that's what you got to do as a starting pitcher sometimes, is fight through if you don't have your best stuff. Have you found it that there's been a day or a start recently where maybe things haven't necessarily worked exactly the way you want, but you found a way to fight through, and that's kind of the difference between pitching as a dominant pitcher in high school and then pitching against SEC teams?
No doubt. I mean, obviously in high school, if you have a velocity with a fastball, you're going to be all right. You can go to that and lean back on that. But And once you get to college, everybody's going to hit a fastball. It doesn't matter how hard you throw, they'll find a way. So just finding, when you have those days where you can't, you're struggling to put off speed in there, one of your pitches isn't working, you just got to tighten down and figure something out. Obviously, it helps that I throw, 4 to 5 pitches. So if something's not working, I can always fall back on that. But just finding something you can get in there for a strike and be effective with.
Is there a pitch that you've worked with this year in college that maybe you didn't have to use so much in high school that you feel has been an improvement?
I didn't throw a changeup in high school. There was no need to. I had a fastball, curveball, slider, and that worked well for me. But now getting to this level, I started working on the changeup this year, and it's been a great addition for me. Just keeping the hitters off balance, especially early in the count, and using that to get ahead.
Talking with Connor Nolan here on Halftime. Connor, let's go back to high school days when you and your family met with Chad Morris. What ultimately led to the decision that you were going to play both baseball and football at the U of A?
Definitely. I just felt like the university gave me the best opportunity to play both sports. I loved the baseball side, Coach Van Horn and Coach Hobbs, obviously, and I wanted to be a part of that. And then, obviously football, they came in and they were, it was an exciting time for the football program, obviously, and I was just ready to be a part of it.
So we've seen guys like Kyler Murray, Jameis Winston, and others have success in both sports. For the fans out there that want you to choose just one, what do you say to them?
It'll choose itself, obviously. When the time's right, it just all depends on my career, and I want to excel in sports. I don't want to be average at both sports. I want to take it to the next level and be a great player for the college, and whenever that time comes, and I feel that's right. That's a possibility.
Kind of going off that answer, Connor, do you think there's going to be a point at the time at the U of A where you're going to have to choose one sport?
I don't know. It might come to that. I love both sports, and I've always had fun playing both since I was little. And if that time comes, it happens. But it's I'm just going to ride it out as long as I can.
Well, let's talk about the difference in the two positions, because they are the most impactful positions in sports, I think. Pitcher, specifically starting pitcher, and quarterback. Quarterback's playing only offense, and starting pitcher essentially is